sharing on the screen an image of a lion. And this is a Buddhist symbol for courage. I don't know if you can see this title here. As our topic today is courage. The lion is a typical symbol of courage in Buddhist art, so I thought I would start with that. It kind of reminds me of the first thing I thought of was the Wizard of Oz, that lion. But the lion was used a lot in Buddhist art because it was a symbol of royalty. The Buddha Shakyamuni, Siddhartha Gautama, was a royal. His family were, his father was a king. But also because the Buddha was thought to be very brave to go out into the world. He ventured out with these teachings. Like when he first became enlightened, I think he was like, wow, this is great. And he was done. Don't need to do anything else. And then I think he was very moved by seeing other people's suffering and said, you know what, I think I need to go out and share this experience I've had with the world, which he then proceeded to do for, I think it might have been 50 years he was a teacher. So he ventured out. He said, I'm going to go and do this, even if it's not entirely comfortable. I could just sit here on my cushion and be enlightened for the rest of my life, but this is important. I'm going to go do this. And the lion's roar, maybe you're familiar, some of you, with this magazine. There's a great magazine about meditation and mindfulness called Lion's Roar. And it's named after him. You know, his voice was thought to have been the lion's roar. Not that he spoke loudly, but that the teachings were so powerful. I mean, they lasted 2,500 years, and here we are trying to learn something from him. So I like that. But courage is our topic today. And I kind of just wanted to try and understand courage a little bit. It's not something I've thought about with regards to Dharma and meditation and mindfulness, to be honest. And, oh, well, here's a joke. This is funny. I tried to be brave and watch a horror movie alone, but now I need courage to use the bathroom at night. What is that? What is that courage that's needed? So, of course, I went to Merriam-Webster, and courage is defined as, this is so interesting, mental or moral strength. Mental or moral strength or energy, mental or moral energy to venture out, to persevere, to withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. So the mental energy to venture out, and to venture. So I was like, well, what does venture actually mean? I don't really know. Venture means to proceed in the face of fear. To proceed in the face of fear. So courage is a noun. So courage is this mental energy or moral strength. Synonyms are virtue, fearlessness, spirit. And the action accompanying that noun is to proceed in the face of fear. The opposite of courage, it's good to think about the opposite when we're trying to define something, is cowardice, which again, the lion in the Wizard of Oz comes up to my mind. But that's a little bit distant for me to understand, so more recognizable antonyms would be fearfulness, hesitation, indecisiveness. Fearfulness, hesitation, indecisiveness. So not venturing in the face of fear or difficulty, not proceeding. So courage is this thing that we value it. It's considered a good thing. And it arises when these two things come together. When something that you want or need or something that's important to you is there, and when you have fear around it. If you don't have the fear around it, courage isn't required. Like, there are people who do things. The only example that comes to my mind now is my husband ushers at his church, and he does offerings and whatnot, and it's this formal thing, and I would be afraid to do that. So I would have to have some courage to go do that, and he does it for fun. So no courage needed there. So there's something that you want to do, or you need to do, something that's important, and there's some kind of a fear around it. And your fears are going to be specific to the causes and conditions of your life. There's a couple of quotes here that I found. John Wayne, he says, "Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway." Eddie Rickenbacker, he's a World War I hero. He's the one who got me thinking about this. Courage is doing what you are afraid to do. There can be no courage unless you're scared. So it's interesting to proceed in the face of fear. And again, as I mentioned, I never thought of courage with regards to Dharma, because I usually think of courage with military personnel or police officers or firemen, things like that. However, courage arises in a lot of areas in our life, like the courage to go downtown and join in a protest. Maybe you're a little bit scared for your personal well-being, but you care, so you do it anyway. Courage to have a different opinion in a group setting. Like, everyone around you is having one opinion and yours is different. And you want to share it, so you need the courage. And the fear there is, you fear being shunned perhaps by the group. Courage to get out of a warm bed on a cold morning. Courage to tell someone that you're lonely and you wish for their company. Courage to tell someone that you're angry, that they hurt you. Courage to say, "I love you." I saw this one, made me laugh. Courage is saying, "I love you" first, and then quickly adding, "just kidding" as a backup plan. Winston Churchill said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." So this courage does show up in our personal lives. And, so after thinking about this, I realized, oh gosh, yeah, courage is something that my meditation and mindfulness practice has given me a lot of over the many years that I've been practicing. I have a lot of examples of instances where I do things differently now just because of this simple practice that we do. And the one example that came to mind was one of my big ones. And it was just really refreshing to reflect on it and be like, oh gosh, that's actually not too much of a problem anymore. It still is sometimes a problem for me, but not like it used to be. It used to be a huge problem. I remember one time I was up in the middle of the night and I looked up on the internet, like, how do I deal with this? And what it was back in the day, before I started this practice, I used to never be able to be the one to end a conversation. Like, if we were in dialogue together, I would have to wait for you to end the conversation. And I don't know, it was just a lifetime habit that I had. I think I was trying to be congenial and helpful. This can make for really long conversations. And after some years of practicing mindfulness, I, developed this thing that we do, right, where we check in with our felt sense, our physical experience. We try to do it on a moment by moment basis if we can. And I noticed that I do love conversations a lot, and I get tired after some time. It's only normal. And I was listening for too long because I feared something. I don't know, I think I feared being rude, or I don't really know what it is. But I didn't need to know in that case, because I just sensed there's not there's something being done here now, once I've reached a certain amount of time, that's no longer helpful. It's becoming harmful. So I could bring some compassion to that feeling, right? Once you have that feeling and you know it's in there, then you can bring some compassion to it and get a little bit of creativity around what you might do. And, now, like I said, I have lots of different ways to end a conversation that are completely polite. No one's complained to me about my actions. No one's cut me out of their life. I think people actually appreciate it because nobody wants to be sitting there with you listening to them. If they knew that you were exhausted and wanted to be done with it already, they would try and finish it. So anyway. So knowing what's true by examining our personal experience, your personal experience, knowing what's true allows you over time to proceed in the face of fear. That's all great. What gets in the way of courage? What gets in the way? And if you look to the Buddhist teachings, what gets in the way of courage is the 3 hindrances, the 3 poisons, the 3 unwholesome roots. The akusala mula from the Mula Sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya. The 3 unwholesome roots are hatred and anger, greed and craving, delusion and confusion. Hatred, anger, aversion, that energy of pushing away. Greed, desire, craving, that energy of pulling towards. And then delusion and confusion. And I'll explain. These are the 3 factors that prevent us from proceeding in the face of fear. So hatred, anger, and aversion is this energy of not accepting what is. It's the energy of no. It's the energy of pushing away what we don't want. It's like saying, I hate this. And it's normal to feel flashes of that in life. Like that's very, very normal. And it's unskillful to nurse it and perpetuate it. So yes, of course, you hate when you get soaking wet because you forgot your umbrella. Of course, you have aversion to that. And it's unskillful to dwell on that and to repeat that mental formation over and over again. So we root out this habit of dwelling on our anger, hatred, and aversion. We root it out. Second poison, greed, craving, and desire. So that's that opposite energy, this energy of wanting more. This idea of if only this, then I could be happy. Running after the next thing to try and fix everything. Trying always to fix things. If I get this, I'm going to be happy. It's this idea of just wanting. I think of the ad industry. They use this weakness to make a whole lot of money off of us. So again, I'll say it's very normal to feel desire. It's okay to want something. Lunchtime is coming. I'm hungry. I want to go out and get me some food. It's just human. And in that case, of course, it's also your survival. You need to eat something. But I want to talk to my friend. I want to. It's unskillful to chase it. It's unskillful to hang on. Especially when things we're not getting what we want. There can be this real energy to really hang on and get a little bit lost. So we root out our habit of chasing our desires, as opposed to having them and sort of skillfully acting upon them. And then delusion and confusion, the third poison, is believing that these first two things are going to solve your problems. Like, if only I can get rid of all of this, all my problems are going to go away. Or if only I can get this, all my problems are going to go away. Delusion is believing that if you can just manage everything and control everything, then you get to be happy. That's delusion and confusion. So these are the hindrances to our courage. These are the hindrances to proceeding in the face of fear. And then the teachers of courage are also known as the divine messengers. The divine messengers, aging, sickness, and death. If you remember, the Buddha ventured out on the spiritual path. He ventured. He did that action of moving out in the face of danger. Because he was raised to not need courage. He was raised in he was completely pampered. He had everything he ever needed and wanted in the castle compound. And one day, it's said, he went out, and what he saw that woke him up was he saw aging, sickness, and death. And these are three dangers, you could call them, that each of us faces regardless. Betty Davis famously said, "Old age sure ain't for sissies." Isn't that the truth? Because no matter what you do, your body is aging. And it will grow ill. And it will pass away. Not for any other reason than everything in creation arises, persists, and passes away. It's just the natural process. So when you contemplate that impermanence, you can develop courage very naturally, because you see that life is short. There's no time to waste. You see how important it is to just let go of what doesn't matter. And when you let go of what doesn't matter, you can definitely proceed much more easily in the face of fear. And it doesn't even feel like courage anymore. It feels kind of like normal and natural. It maybe even feels like peace, that courage. So